Blog Talk Radio.
Stevie B's Media Production is a part of the Shellcaster Network.
The proclamation of the gospel of Jesus Christ by members of the Churches of Christ. With your host, Stevie R. Butler. You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
You are my protector, and you are my provider, and my deliverer. There's no other help I know. You are my protector, and you are my provider, and my deliverer. There's no other help I know. I really love the Lord.
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
Good evening, wherever you're on the world listening to this radio broadcast. Stevie B Media Production presents What a Word from the Lord radio show. I'm your host this evening, Stevie R. Butler. And this radio show is being broadcast from Stevie B Media Production at the Carolina studio in the great state of North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just grateful for the privilege to bring you a program where we as Christians and members of the Churches of Christ can share our faith and preach and teach the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ on a weekly basis. If you'd like to contact us while we're on the air this evening, just give us a call to the live show at 713-955-0508, or you can go to the Blog Talk Radio website and listen to the show live there. There are over 1,700 live shows on Blog Talk Radio at this hour, and you'll consistently find this radio show on pages 1 through 4 of that website. I just looked at it before I came on the air, and I saw this show on page 3, but since I'm on the air now, the show has probably moved up to page 2 or 1. That's normally how they do it. If you have any questions or comments for any of my co-hosts on this broadcast, you can send your emails to my new email address, butlersteve1009 at yahoo.com, or you can call Stevie B Media Production at the Carolina studio at 910-491-6405. Now, again, this program is brought to you by members of the Churches of Christ. And if you need any assistance locating the congregation, please feel free. Please feel free to contact us if you're looking for a congregation in your area. Now, on tonight's broadcast, we have a special edition. This is the third Tuesday of the month. And my co-host, Dr. Anthereca Lane, she's a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist from the Great Road Church of Christ there in Cincinnati, Ohio. She'll be hosting her show this evening, Conversations with Dr. Lane. Enjoy your listening experience. Take it away, Dr. Lane.
Stevie B Media Productions presents, in collaboration with Lane Media and Photography, a special presentation of What a Word from the Lord radio show, featuring Conversations with Dr. Lane, hosted by Dr. Anthereca Lane, board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist. Conversations with Dr. Lane, where health and life intersect. Are you ready to learn to live a life that is overflowing with victory and empowerment? Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Lane. Dr. Lane is a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist. She is committed to addressing health holistically from the mind, body, and soul.
Hi, this is Dr. Anthereca Lane with Conversations with Dr. Lane. Let's talk about those things that we do not have time to discuss during an appointment. Let's talk about your finances, business, education, relationships. If I can empower you to make healthy decisions in these areas, I am convinced your mind will be more focused and more open to a conversation about your health.
Turn up the volume. Get ready for Conversations with Dr. Lane.
Hello, this is Dr. Anthereca Lane, and welcome to a special episode of Conversations with Dr. Lane on What a Word from the Lord with my co-host, Stevie B. Today, I have the awesome privilege of sharing with you my speech that was given at the 4th Annual United Sisters Symposium of the Churches of Christ. The United Sisters Symposium is an annual event for Christian women coordinated by Erlene Bryson of Reseda Church of Christ in Reseda, California. This year, her daughter, Stacy Richardson, served as her co-coordinator, and they did a fabulous job. The entire weekend was a blessing. Other speakers included Lisa Willis of Richardson, Texas, Martise Brumfield of Los Angeles, California, and Deborah Houston of San Antonio, Texas. My speech is in progress. You are only missing my acknowledgement that I am a product of Normandy Christian School, and Normandy Church of Christ is also my family. Well, here we go.
I Michelle Lane, my brothers John and Gamile, my sisters-in-law Felicia and Katrina, my husband, my ride or die, who is at home in Cincinnati, Ohio, and my father, one of my biggest cheerleaders, Dr. John Edmondson as well. So health and wellness. If I'm honest with you, I contemplated for months, days, and hours trying to determine what I would speak to you all about. I am an obstetrician and gynecologist, and women's health is my area of expertise. I could talk to you about women and heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. In fact, in the United States, 44% of women are living with heart disease. That is over 60 million women. We can talk about hypertension, high blood pressure, as one of the most common risk factors for heart disease, and how black women are almost 60% more likely than white women to have high blood pressure. We could also talk about uterine cancer and how deaths from uterine cancer are increasing in the United States, and deaths are highest among black women. We could talk about maternal mortality in the United States. Black women are almost 3 times more likely compared to white women to die regardless of income or education due to pregnancy-related causes. And get this, 80% of pregnancy-related deaths are preventable. We can talk about black women choosing abortion 4 times more than white women in the United States. And lastly, we can even talk about breast cancer. Breast cancer accounts for 30% of all new cancers in the United States. In fact, 1 in 8 women will experience invasive breast cancer in the course of their lifetime. I could share with you that simply by reducing your weight and alcohol use, you can lower your risk for breast cancer. I could encourage you to continue to do monthly self-breast exams, because approximately 50% of breast cancer cases in women 50 years and older, and 71% of cases in women younger than 50 years old are detected by women themselves. You see, women are beautifully and wonderfully made. However, we are also complex. And oftentimes our physical health is only the tip of the iceberg of what we call wellness. So today, after much prayer and meditation, my presence here is not about presenting facts and research. I'm glad to come back and do that if you desire. However, today is about how to cultivate wellness in our lives. Wellness is going to require that we literally need to dig deep to that inner part of ourselves that determines the choices that we make, that part of ourselves that controls the messages that we speak and the messages that we absorb, that part of ourselves that dictates where our feet take us and what our eyes see, that part of us that allows us to trust or remain guarded with other women in our lives. You see, as a physician, we are put under a great deal of pressure to move on to the next patient. I don't always have time to talk about those things that I know are important to you. But today, I'm going to take some time and just talk to you. Is that all right? I've come to realize from many conversations with patients over the years that wellness is not simply about how many doctor's appointments that you attend or the medications that you've been prescribed. Wellness is ultimately about our connection or our lack of connection to God. This connection is what drives us to make those choices that will promote living a life that is full of victory and empowerment. And guess what? God desires a connection with us. James 4:8 states that if you come near to God, He Pharisees had heard that he was gaining and baptizing more disciples than John, although in fact it was not Jesus who baptized but his disciples. So he left Judea and went back once more to Galilee. Now he had gone through Samaria, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plots of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." And Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you the living water." So the topic that has been placed on my heart is, there is no wellness without the well. Have you noticed throughout the Old and New Testament, the well has been an integral component of a transformational process where God is working in the life of the person at the well. A few known facts about the well. Wells in the ancient Near East were located near towns as well as in wildernesses and desert areas. Drawing water was a task for women and was difficult work. Digging one's own or owning a well was a sign of prosperity. As a limited resource, wells were a vital social and economic asset. Disputes over wells were common. Enemies could target wells before open hostilities. Israel pledged not to drink from the wells of Edom if they would be allowed to pass through their land. The use of wells and other water infrastructure were so important that they were regulated by law. This included principles of ownership, access, and maintenance. For example, lack of use could negate one's claim to ownership. Wells that had been filled in could be redug and reused. Wells could be dangerous. The Torah mandated the covering of wells or pits to prevent injury. Wells were used in Scripture as hiding places. At times they were also used as prisons. Depending on the well, the bottom was generally either several feet of mud and dirty water or dust powder. Prisoners could actually die by sinking. Polluted wells were well known and created danger among the populace. Throughout the Bible, wells were symbolic of supply and provision. A well and its water were symbols of God's promise and his care. The well represents opportunity. They appear small in size, but deep inside. It is connected to something greater, a vast underground supply. Wells are also a manifestation of past generational investment of time and labor. Wells can be a form of inheritance from past generations. Generational wells can be life-giving, or they can perpetuate generations of bitterness, shame, or poverty. The good news is that God is a redeemer who turns bitter waters into sweet. Yeah. Wells played an important role in the story of God's people. They served as a place of rest and refreshment in a dry land. Wells, just outside a city or village, served as a meeting place for local women, but also for travelers, where news would be passed along. As an image in common life, wells were pictures of physical beauty. Likewise, a dry or broken well served as a metaphor for disobedience. Because wells were the primary source of water, a dry well was a curse. Unfortunately, most wells did not offer a reliable source of water. Being dependent on the scarce rainfall therefore the cause of much rejoicing. Good wells were generally considered signs of God's providence. In Scripture, a number of important meetings take place at a well, and one of the most memorable meetings was between Jesus and the Samaritan woman. This was the Bible's last story of a well. It is a fitting summary of the Bible's range of uses for well imagery. Jesus meets the Samaritan woman as the archetypal outcast who comes to the well at noon to avoid being present when the community gathers at the well. Jesus infuses new life into the image of a well as he ministers to the Samaritan woman outside of her town. And as the story unfolds, we are reminded of the political, social, and historical significance of the well by John's careful identification of the well as Jacob. Here, the pride of generation is embodied in the Samaritan's ownership. Second, Jesus arrived there as a tired traveler, seeking refreshment, as Jacob and Moses had done before him. The economic necessity of the well is evident. Its depth requires the use of special tools, and when offered the prospect of water that does not need to be drawn daily, the woman is eager at the prospect of escape from the onerous, ongoing task. The distinction between the relatively poor quality of water in cisterns that captured rainwater and the high quality of those wells that tap springs of living water helps clarify the dialogue between Jesus and the Samaritan when Jesus offered her living water. While Jacob and Moses found light at the well, Jesus seeks a different bride, those who will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Amidst a poignant knowledge of the woman's history of unfaithfulness, he reveals that he is the one for whom she has been waiting, the bridegroom, the Messiah, who will explain everything to us. One commentator states that Jesus also turns the water-giving well into a full-fledged symbol of salvation. The commentator also states that in the Bible's last well scene, Jesus visits this common setting of opportunity and blessing and reveals it as a metaphor of redemption, as we are reminded how the well truly can be a source of transformational wellness in life that has been full of trouble and sin. I challenge you today to join me at a meeting at the well. I want you to think about the wells in your life. Do you have wells that are life-giving, promoting, and fostering wellness? Or do you have wells of bitterness, shame, poverty, or even a well of chronic illness that has been passed on from generation to generation that leaves you feeling discouraged and powerless? Maybe your well is that you are a pleaser, even at your own detriment. Maybe your well is you continuously choose relationships that starve you instead of feed you. Maybe you were just diagnosed with breast cancer and you have a long journey of treatments ahead. Whatever well that you possess, I encourage you to invite God to meet you at the well and take a drink of his living water, and that has the ability to feed your soul for a lifetime and beyond. And if I still haven't convinced you of the importance of making your spiritual health a priority, maybe you then will appreciate a study performed by Harvard researchers that has been referred to as the most rigorous and comprehensive systematic analysis of the modern day literature regarding health and spirituality to date. They noted that for healthy people, spiritual community participation, as exemplified by religious service attendance, is associated with healthier lives, including greater longevity, less depression and suicide, and less substance abuse. For many patients, spirituality is important and influences key outcomes in illness, such as quality of life and medical care decisions. Consensus implications included incorporating professionals about the protective benefits of spiritual community participation. One researcher stated, overlooking spirituality leaves patients feeling disconnected from the healthcare system and the clinicians trying to care for them. Now listen closely to this part. Integrating spirituality into care can help each person have a better chance of reaching complete well-being and their highest attainable standard of health. In conclusion, when we identify and recognize those life-giving wells in your life, we will be moving on to the path to wellness. This is more than a physical wellness. It is a spiritual wellness that will feed the soul for a lifetime. There are times in our lives when we are going to labor with the hope of seeing the benefit of our wells. We might grow tired and weary, but God will give strength to the weary and increase the power to the weak. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. There will come a time when God calls us to receive a great inheritance. Deuteronomy 6:11-12 says, when the Lord your God brings you into the land He swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you a land with large, flourishing cities you did not build, houses filled with all kinds of things that you did not provide, wells that you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful that you do not forget the Lord, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Are you ready to meet me at the well? I'd like everyone to stand up and grab the hand or make whatever contact you are comfortable with the person next to you. I'm going to ask my mom and my daughter to come up here with me. I ask that you close your eyes and meditate on these words. Lord, let us not forget you and the power of your life-giving well. I invite you to be my companion on my journey to wellness. Help me to recognize those generational wells that need to be filled and never to be accessed again. Help me to have the strength and the grit to keep on digging new wells, because I know for certain that you have a great inheritance for me. Lord, I bring my heart to your living fountain to be filled as a vessel. I bring my hands to do your work. I bring my feet to go and share the good news of your promises. God, meet me at the wells in my life. I am ready and waiting for you to do great things. And now, sisters, I commit you to God. I deposit you in His charge, entrusting you to His protection and care. And I commit you to the word of His grace, to the commands and counsels and promises of His unmerited favor. It is able to build you up and to give you your rightful inheritance amongst all God's set-apart ones, those consecrated, purified, and transformed of soul. There is no wellness without the well.
Well, there you have it. There is no wellness without the well. I pray that this blessed you as much as it blessed me. Special thanks to my brother, John Edmerson, and my mother, Dr. Lachelle Edmerson, for recording the video, which served as the source of my audio. As always, a special shout out to Marvin Lane, my husband, and technical producer, for ensuring that everything runs smoothly behind the scenes. I encourage you to click, like, follow, subscribe, and share. To my podcast audience, thank you for your support. We will talk again soon. You have been listening to Dr. Anthereca Lane with Conversations with Dr. Lane, a special segment of What a Word from the Lord. Back to you, Stevie B.
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
All right. Brothers and sisters, we came to lift you up, to encourage you, to open up the Word of God and stop leaning on your own understanding. Come on, committee. I need you. Don't you give up. God's gonna change your life. You must hold fast to His word. When you learn to lean and trust these are your best days. This is the first day of the rest of your life. Come in now. I need you to hear this. We got to listen.
Ever felt like giving up? Ever felt like throwing in the towel? Well, you must keep moving. No, you cannot stop. Even though there are times when you can't see how, I came to encourage you, Lord. Trouble don't last always. No, it don't. Standing on the promises of a sovereign God. Your breakthrough is not too far away. My sister, God's about to turn it all around. But you gotta hold back to His word, 'cause your day is coming soon. Hold on, breakthrough is right around the corner. It's a new day. These are your very best days. It's the first day of. That's right into your brand new.
Wait a minute. Now, don't let this pain and this suffering throw you for a loop. It's just God's way of touching you and getting your attention. When I was going through, I had to open up His Word and let Him lead, guide me. And I said to myself, I reckon that my suffering can't be compared to my glory. Said I reckon that my suffering can't be compared to my glory. But I reckon that the pain that I'm going through right now really can't compare to His power. You will see through me. Can I get a witness? We've been waiting for a night, but don't let the joy come in the morning. Just don't be so. Just remember, y'all, He made this promise.
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.